Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Day, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Well, we are in the mood, indeed, of the 2023 general elections. And a lot of surprises will spring up, and perhaps those kind of surprises have since started to emerge. The surprises will be in the shape and form of candidates and their agenda, and in fact, the velocity and intensity of the race, the clamor for inclusion on all sides from gender to age. This sort of clamor has been rife. It is very interesting when you see people within these categories then imagining the race. It then gets one talking. So on Friday, when the African Democratic Congress, ADC, unveiled its deputy governorship candidate, the political scene was jolted. And it was a sort of surprise, not only the gender, but the personality. Nollywood actress Tonto Dikeh was announced as a running mate to the governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Rivers State, Tonto Ibrahim. At the announcement on Friday, Tonto Dikeh said she's glad to be a proud member of the Rivers Rescue Mission 2023. Or perhaps maybe we can get some soundbite from that, that unveiling, which happened on Friday.
Sorry, the BOT person from River State, and then our national woman leader to make this joint presentation also to the deputy governorship candidate of ADC. Excellency, the incoming governor of River State. Her Excellency, who you soon be, the incoming deputy governor has been.
All right, and that's Tonto Dikeh right there when she was announced as the ADC deputy governorship candidate. She will be joining me live in a moment. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to the ADC deputy governorship candidate in Rivers State, Tonto Dikeh. We'll be right in a moment. Stay with us. Much everyone for staying with us. Well, when it's a woman, when it's young, perhaps is a reason to talk about, because these are the class of categories of people that usually do not come into the fray as far as Nigeria's politics is concerned. Tonight I have the ADC deputy governorship candidate. You might not see a deputy governorship candidate speaking on the program. Unusual, right? Yes. Tonto Dikeh, Nigerian Nollywood actress, joins me live here in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shan.
It comes to a lot of Nigerians as a surprise.
Yes.
Have you ever wanted to be in politics?
I've always wanted to be in politics. Ever since I became a personality in the country, I have always given back to the community that made me who I am through my foundation, the Tonto Dikeh Foundation. So I've always known that what I did was politics, helping people, nurture people, educate, and also build up leaders. That's politics. So yeah, I've always been in the politics game. But nevertheless, not a lot of people know that I have been in politics, Nigerian politics, for the past 2 years. Through CYMS, Committee of Youth and Mobilization and Sensitization, I have worked for this administration for about 2-3 years now.
Which of the administration? In your state or federal government?
Federal government, I'm sorry.
So you somewhat APC member? Proxy.
The truth is, we're not a member of any political party. We're just in for the government's good and for the youth's good. So we are just intermediate for the youths to for the government to the youth. So it's more like no party at all. We are just social workers.
So the candidate approached you to be his running mate?
Yes, sir.
So how did you find that?
Amazing, intriguing, and overwhelming.
You think it's something you can do?
It's something I am able to do.
You are a woman of controversy too.
Yes.
And so you're ready for what politics will throw out to you?
I am extremely controversial. Doesn't mean I'm not extremely loyal to the things I believe in. I believe in change. I believe in governance, good governance. I believe in an opportunity for women and youth in my governance, inclusion of them in decision makings. So with that, I don't think I have a mind to change. I can change in things that don't really make sense. But when it comes to people that I love, communities that I love, I don't change. It's a static. It's either white or black.
You pretty much, probably, when the candidate approached you, you probably started researching what it means to be a deputy governor.
Yes.
And what do you think, what is in your mind you make of the role of the job of a deputy governor?
And now, what I say might be a little bit controversial, but nevertheless, it is the truth. A deputy is a spare tire.
And you're willing to be one?
And I'm willing to be the best spare tire every governor or every mandate has ever had.
So you are king. You call yourself King Tonto?
I don't call myself king. My name is King Tonto. It's a name, not a title.
Oh, it's your name?
It's a name.
It's your parent gave it?
It's a name gotten for my son. Yes, it's a name.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a lot of people imagine that you put yourself in several shoes.
I know, and that's something I've never really gotten to explain to a lot of people, but I think now I have to, because I had to take it out for my campaign name and campaign initiative, because I do not want the traditional rulers to think me ahead of them. My king comes as a result of my name, as a name gotten from my son. It's not a title in any way or form.
Have you tried to resolve some of these issues on the home front? Because these are some of the things the questions that will come up.
Yeah.
And although, I try to be as lenient with women when they come on this program. But, sometimes the tough questions are not far away from this table.
Yeah.
But the big questions are the ones that you will be asked. Politics will throw at you personal questions.
I don't intend
they will engage you.
I don't intend for you to actually treat me like a woman. I intend for you to treat me as every political aspirant who sits down here. Because I don't want to be seen as a woman.
The reason why I probably will treat a younger person in politics and a woman in politics differently on this program is because we support inclusion.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people they get discouraged because they are women or they are young. So we try as much as possible to accommodate and try as much as possible to see from their own prism.
Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to see from your prism tonight.
Yes, please.
And find out how prepared you are for those questions, tough ones that will be asked, especially when it comes to family issues. These are very tricky things. But politics will throw some of these tough questions at you.
I am prepared for anything, truthfully. I have had 3 years to work on this. It's not something that I just came out or emerged with. We've had a lot of time to work on this and for this. Criticism, I am ready. Not criticism, I am ready. So it doesn't matter where the question is coming from or where it's not coming from. I have failed in my life, and I'm not denying that, and everybody has seen that. Well, am I going to fail with leadership? Have I ever failed with leadership? Start from motherhood. Have I ever failed in motherhood? Have I ever failed in my foundation? I think I was one of the foundation who has actually stood up for this country and helped this country in the time of the pandemic with no assistance whatsoever. There was no assistance, but I did it on myself. I did it even more than governments. I did it more than even states. I did it because I cared. So I am prepared for whatever criticism it is. I know that it would come. For God's sake.
For leadership, how prepared are you?
I'm Tonto, so I am prepared for all of the questions. But the truth is, have you ever tried me on leadership when I failed? Nah.
So what would you be telling Nigerians tonight, especially people from Rivers State, of how prepared, what school of leadership have you gone to? And I say school of leadership doesn't necessarily mean the 4 walls of a university. Yeah. Whether you've been tested in any leadership capacity.
I have been tested critically in leadership through my foundation, the Tonto Dikeh Foundation, and secondly, through my organization, no, not my organization, but an existing organization, which is Committee of Youth on Mobilization and Sensitization, which will work directly with the government through to the youth. So I have paid my dues when it comes to social working for the country.
ADC, do you see that party? Chance?
Sorry?
In ADC, your party which you belong now.
Do I see a chance?
A chance for that party in Rivers State.
The truth is there's always a chance for everything.
River State
Yes,
is
please.
PDP, a PDP state right now.
It's not a PDP state.
It is run by a PDP government.
That's the idea we have in our heads. But the thing is, it's not run by PDP. It's run by citizens, and that's what we want to bring.
Members of the PDP.
Well, they don't have to be, right? They don't have to be. We need to send the right message to the people of River State. We're not preaching party. We're preaching change. And that's what it is.
So what change are you preaching?
A lot of change.
What are you hoping to bring to the
First
table?
Of all,
or your party, man, you are keen into the agenda of your candidate.
Yes.
So what is that agenda? You said the rescue.
There are a lot of them. First of all, invest massively in social security. Secondly, which is foremost in my heart, which is the inclusion of women and youth in politics and decision making in the country. That's secondly. And also encouraging local production to increase exports and support the growth of small businesses.
What kind of what aspect of the economy? What would you think River State could produce to export?
There's so many things that we can produce. I am a farmer. I'm a massive farmer of cassava, snails, and a lot of things. And I do know that I didn't get that from nowhere. I got that from my grandma. My grandma is a farmer. I think she's one of the biggest farmers in River State.
Your farm is in River State?
I have a farm in River State and I have a farm in Abuja here. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, and you have experience in that, and you are hoping that also you will help. Should your party win the election, you have
It's not about farming alone. It's just so many things that you didn't allow me to mention. I just mentioned only three.
So, because now I'm looking at the fact that when you talk about exporting, is a lot. So you have to produce something.
Yes.
So what do you think River State is strong at?
We intend to encourage local production. To increase exports.
Of what product?
Of different made in Nigeria products from River State.
What is River State strong in?
We are strong in so many things apart from oil, and that's what we want to make the public known. That it's not just oil, it's not just the oil sector alone. We are very strong in so many things. I do cassava, gari from River State, and I bet you I'm one of the most, well, saying biggest exporter, it's like bragging, but the truth is I export real good.
On cassava.
On cassava.
And it's other extractions.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the campaigns will start. We may not have all the time in the world, but I guess Nigerians are interested in listening to you tonight, and that's the reason why we wanted you to have a share on stating your side of this and looking at how you fit into that role.
Yeah.
Now, you look at the race. You have agenda, which we talked a bit about, is also how to win the election. Yes. What is the strategy?
I have not been so long in the political scheme, but I do know that my strategies should not be shared online. Nevertheless, I would say that I have a very good mandate for the public and for the citizens of River State, and that should be encouraged. Yeah. I cannot share my strategy. Obviously, you know that, Mr. Sharon.
PDP, APC, is a party weary of these big political parties or the bigger
and I appreciate them and I love them so much. We have to love them. You see, the thing is, we are not here. I mean, from where we stand from and from what we represent, we're not here to fight the government. We're here to assist them. It says that we are tomorrow's leaders. It's tomorrow. We are today. We're in the time of the now. We're in the time of the change. They've taught us a lot of things. So I think it's time for them to just give us a little space for us to actually express what they have taught us. So it's not a fight for, the old governance or the old people. No, I'm not in support of all of that.
You think the time is now?
The time is now for the youths.
Tonto Dikeh, I wish you the very best in the race, and hopefully at some point we might get to see your face more on television, because you are now in the stream of things now.
Thank you very much.
I wish you the very best. Tonto Dikeh, ADC, Deputy Governorship Candidate in River State. Thank you indeed for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right. We take another break, everyone, and when we return, attention is on the choice before Nigerians in the 2023 general elections. Now, the big political parties are talking tough, and their supporters are also saying, we are the party to beat, which, of course, I mean, you ask yourself, which of the parties, anyways, will be having that tough conversation, that debate over 2023? So does everyone will right back. Everyone for staying with us right here on the program. Earlier today, the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says he's still searching for a running mate. Well, take a listen to him. He said he's at the book launch of the 60th birthday of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila.
During my primary, it's a story for another day. I'll spend more time, too many times, and people might be bored. They might be envious too. They might be jealous. I won with a landslide. I thank you. I could see his deputy sitting down there too. You are a very good symbol of unity, dependability, and honesty. Thank you. Thank you for both of you. You've not rocked the boat. I will need to learn from both of you how you made the peer work, because I'm still searching for my running mate.
You heard Bola Tinubu there talking about this running mate. These are some of the issues that have come up, debates between the supporters of the different political parties and their presidential candidates. Now we know all of the presidential candidates, but the issue of placeholders, and beyond all of those issues of who fit in as running mates to the different candidates, also the issue of what they bring to the table, the caliber of these candidates, the choice before Nigerians are the issues that will be taken up tonight. I'm being joined from Birnin Kudu in Jigawa State by a chieftain of the APC and a former leader in the House of Representatives, Honorable Farouk Adamu Ali, who joins us virtually. And from our Kano studio is a former member of the House of Representatives and a candidate of House of Reps in Kano of the NNPP, Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin. And from our Lagos studio, he's a spokesperson of the Atiku campaign organization, Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. I guess we should begin with Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, who joins us virtually. Give us an understanding of what this means. There are a lot of people who have been questioning, arguing over the issue of the running mate of the APC. You heard from the candidate there who says, I'm still in search. And this is a generated criticism of your party and the candidate over the choice or who should be the candidate. And in fact, people are already making the insinuation whether a Muslim ticket will be fitting for the kind of situation that we are in this country right now.
Yes, good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, viewers and everyone. Well, the choice of the vice presidential candidate of our party, lies with our candidate, the party, the stakeholders, and we're all consulted. But I assure you that we're going to come up with the candidate who will fit the bill, who will be acceptable to Nigerians. And I also assure you that by the time the name is out, everybody will believe and be convinced that, yes, we've made the right choice. So just give us a little time. We're going to come out with it soon.
And the question is, I've had a few people say that why is it difficult for your party to discover, or your candidate to identify a running mate if he's indeed prepared for this race?
Well, it is not difficult, but just the Nigerian complexities. You understand, so many people are talking about Muslim, Christian, and so on, forgetting the fact that no matter the diversity in this country, you need to also win an election before you could start doing things. So we are consulting. We are looking at Muslim ticket. Yes, it's on the card. We're also looking at Muslim Christian ticket. But to us, as a people and as a party and as our presidential candidate, look, let me put this question to whole Nigerians. Are the Muslims in this country today better off with President Buhari as president, or the other way around? So you look, see, it's not about religion. It's not about who you are or where you come from, but what the people will get. So if our party or our candidate comes up with a Muslim candidate, so be it. We're going to make sure we win the election. Simple, that's it. And if in the wisdom of our candidate, he brings a Christian candidate, we are also going to make sure we win the election, because as I said, it is not about the religion. It's not about where you come from, but competence. Because look, when you go to the market, nobody will ask you whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian. When armed robbers come to you, they don't ask where you come from. When kidnappers come to you, they don't ask where you come from. So let's look at ourselves as competent Nigerians. Whoever is competent, let's the party bring it out. And I assure you it's going to come out soonest, and whoever comes will work for the person and make sure we win.
All right, let me take this question to someone who understands your party very well, who in fact was one of those who initiated the idea, who started the campaign even before the campaign started. Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin, who has since jumped ship and went to the NNPP. He must have seen something in the NNPP, and he's one today conversing for Senator Robbie Musa Kwankunso. Now, the Muslim ticket, if you may want to comment on that first and foremost, and perhaps why should Nigerians look in the direction of Kwankunso?
Well, for Kwankunso, thank you so much, by the way. For Kwankunso, it's a straightforward conversation, and when you put all the front runners all together, Kwankunso, Aswaju, of course, of whom I campaign for, I still hold him very highly, Atiku, and of course Peter Obi. There's something I just keep telling people. For the first time, the country is lining up presidential front-runner presidential candidates that each one of them, except you don't want to be honest with yourself, has the capacity to run this country. But now what should be paramount is who has an edge, And I keep saying now very clearly, Kwankunso does. And it's very easy for you to be able to draw your conclusion. When you put all the candidates on the table and you take them one after the other, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar rose from Deputy Director in the Custom, due respect to him, to become the presidential candidate. Didn't make it the first time. Then again, won election as governor, then became a Vice President. So the highest position he's held is a Vice President, which is not an executive position. So you could say he has not been tested. He's come up with a lot of ideas. You listen to him, you know he has good ideas about how to run Nigeria and the rest, but the question mark is, has he ever been tested? So he's never been tested. You put that aside. Of course, you will take Aswaju, two-time governor of Lagos State, did excellently well. He was a senator of the Federal Republic. It stops there, contributed extensively to our democracy, and of course has a very good business background. Peter Obi, former chief executive of a smaller bank, two-time governor. You go on to Kwankunso. When you take the legislature, he was a former deputy speaker of the House, presiding over 600 members of the National Assembly. After that, he became a member of the Constitutional Conference, drafting the constitution that we're using now in the country. After that, went on to become governor of Kano State, 1999 to 2003, laying a solid foundation for sustainable development, which all successive government in Kano State continue to go back to tap wealth of experience to be able to implement policies that we are seeing, and that's why Kano is surviving until death. After that, he was Minister of Defense, which is part of what the country needs at the moment, that experience of somebody who has security experience. Then again, we need the international exposure. He was an ambassador. Then came back again to be a governor between 2011 and 2015, and he didn't even stop that again. Became a senator of the Federal Republic. So in all the candidates, this is not we playing politics. If you want to put all the candidates on a scale and look at them, none of them come close to Kwankwaso. That is not without saying all of them are not qualified. All of them are good enough. If you ask me to take a second person, of course, Aswaju will come second before the rest. So with Kwankwaso as president, you will see dynamism in leadership. You will see massive, and of course, you read it all over. People are already talking about infrastructure revolution. He's demonstrated that in Kano. He's somebody who believes in infrastructure, education. And I tell you something, education is the foundation of most of the problems that we faced. For he's somebody who believes so much in education. So you're going to see a lot of the infrastructure expansion, or call it revolution. You will see a lot of innovation. Educational system we revamped, healthcare, and so many other sectors. But also, most importantly, because the president does not need to know everything, Kwankwaso has demonstrated the ability to be able to choose the right people and put them in the right places. The only thing that we need, and that's what we are working on diligently, and we are not talking too much about that because a lot of work is going behind the scene. We're trying to get a running mate that will shock Nigerians. Once we get somebody to pair with Kwankwaso, I can assure you that we'll be in the villa in 2023. Sorry, apologies, because I understand that Mr. Ladipo Johnson is a running mate to Kwankwaso. Is he a placeholder also? Is he an interim to be replaced later? Is that what you're saying? You do not have a substantive running mate yet? Yes, we've put forward Mr. Ladipo, but at the same time, again, since we have the opening, we have the latitude of time, we're working on getting, again, a presidential running mate. Of course, you know, it's a matter of public knowledge that we're in talks with Peter Obi, of which we believe that it will be able to take care of a lot of things. One, to address the issue of the marginalization of the Southeast. Secondly, bringing somebody with the private sector background. Then, of course, a lot of followership that he has amongst the youths. But again, we are taking that cautiously because that has not been tested in terms of electoral value. But again, from the surface, you will be able to agree that he has a massive youth followership.
So clarify to us, Honorable Jibrin.
Yes.
That's when you're talking about the possible alliance with Peter Obi and the Labour Party. There are those who are of the view that maybe Kwankwaso will be the running mate to Peter Obi, or is it the other way around?
Well, very clearly, Kwankwaso will not be the running mate to Peter Obi. By every standard, Kwankwaso should be the presidential aspirant. Kwankwaso has more exposure, political exposure, more experience. He has a bigger profile when it comes to that. He has more experience politically on how to win the election. And at the end of the day, when you look at the equity contribution in terms of vote, it will be a ratio of about 70 to 30%. We're looking at bringing in 70% of the contribution, even if it is in business. Peter Obi is experienced in business. He knows that whoever is bringing a larger chunk of their equity is expected to stay on board. But again, even if you take away the issue of the totality of vote that is expected to bring from the northern part of the country, which Kwankwaso is going to bring as the single most popular politician today in the northern part of the country, akin to, and because we've not even seen where he stopped, maybe probably he will turn out to be even more popular than Buhari, because again we haven't seen what where his own is going to stop. With due respect to the president, we are very sure he's going to continue to command his respect and the rest. But Kwankwaso comes in as a person who is going to be a successor of that chunk of vote.
Let's take a pause from your end and let's go to our Lagos studio, Honorable Jibrin, just for a moment, because let me bring Dr. Pedro Obaseki into the conversation, who tonight will be speaking on behalf of Mr. Atiku Abubakar, who is the presidential candidate of the PDP. And you heard a lot. And he says, look, as far as Kwankwaso is concerned, he ranks higher than an Atiku Abubakar, and the chances are higher. Should they have a Peter Obi alliance, is it a danger for your the chances of your candidate Atiku Abubakar and the PDP?
I wish I would have been allowed to respond to some of the things that were said earlier by the other two, but it's okay. There is nothing on earth that stops anybody from having an over-bloated sense of self. That is okay. You know, sectional elections in Kano State does not dovetail into elections in Nigeria. There is no hamlet, no village, no state, no local government, the 774 local governments in Nigeria, where Atiku is not a household name. Atiku is a brand, and the brand essence of Atiku does not compare to the sectional, regional, seemingly state-based popularity of Alhaji Rabiu Kwankwaso. I respect him. I respect his kind of person, but it's like comparing apples and beans. They don't stand on the same pedestal. So I don't want to even go down to playing that ostrich card. There's no basis for comparison. I'm very sure that nobody in Ilwe-Logbo, and I'm very sure that nobody in my village in Benin or in Okada or somewhere in Iragbeji knows who Kwankwaso is. But the very brand essence of product article, it straddles the entire Nigerian value chain. That is why many of us refer to him as the unifier. Atiku is Yoruba as much to the same extent as Igbo, as much as is to the same extent as is Northern. And that is clear. It's an empirical fact. We don't have to start dovetailing into trying to compare both of them. I think what the honorable gentleman just said is just to try as much as possible to boost, to add some form of jet fuel to the Kwankwaso brand persona. And I don't think that if you look at it empirically on Twitter, for example, which is the upwardly mobile, those of us who are upwardly mobile, it is a gauge of popularity of who follows where, who knows what. Atiku as yesterday had about 4.3 million followers on Twitter, making him the most followed Nigerian politician, about 200,000 more than Mr. President. So Kwankwaso is still about, even Mr. Peter Obi is about 1.3 million now, rising fast, but the difference is like night and daylight. But I would have loved to actually quickly throw in, I don't want to push you, Sean. You know, at the beginning, the opening trajectory was Mr. Tinubu saying he's still looking for his running mate. And I begin to wonder whether our politicians ever read the Electoral Act. The two of them who have just spoken actually sat down and legislated an Electoral Act that took away their own voting rights. I'm not very sure they all read it. In section 31 and 34, it's clear of how and who, when and why anybody who is involved in this process. So if you already have a running mate submitted to INEC, and you are coming weeks after to still say you are still searching for a running mate, it's like a kid that missed the bus. And that shows clearly a typical thing about the APC, a party that is actually fighting each time for the jugular, for power, without thinking about the mechanics of governance. Now you have seen them, they are not ready. We don't even know what their manifesto is. We don't know what they are about. They don't even know who is running on a ticket they had already submitted. And I don't think anything is much more symptomatic of lack of preparedness. And that is what the problem is. And Mr. Honorable Aminu said at the beginning that, let me quote him, is the Muslim in Nigeria, the northern Muslim, better today under Buhari? And he answered himself, no. There is no greater indictment on the failure, on the monumental seismic failure of the APC government, as we said. So we are getting new words in the Nigerian political lexicon. Placeholder. Next one, spaceholder. The next one, maybe we go here, grave digger. I mean, this should stop. There must be some level of seriousness in this matrix of governance. And I think the APC has shown that it is not ready. The NNPP, I don't want to join issues because it's just a party based on pieces of paper. And there is a clear product differentiation now between PDP that got us somewhere where the APC told us was a lie, and then today, the APC taking Nigeria 1,000,000 years backwards. We are much more ethnic based than we have ever been in our history.
Obaseki,
sir,
I'll come to you back. I'll come back to you just in a moment. Let me go to Benin Kudu with Honorable Adamu Ali, who perhaps will have a lot to respond to. And perhaps also you need to join these to his response. A lot of conversations around the details as published by INEC on the credentials and the bio that has been released by your candidate to INEC, submitted to INEC, which generated a lot of controversies over the weekend as to his educational background beyond the university in Chicago that he listed to have attended, and whether or not the school in Aroloya, or whether or not he attended some of these schools. Those who attended around the same time, someone like Mr. Aribi Salah, who came, look, if he was there as he claimed, he was also at that period of time, he was in that same school. He never knew who Bola Tinubu was. Can you respond to some of these issues? People were saying, look, anybody who will lead this country, we should not be having a conversation of whether they went to school, the kind of school they went to. This should be a basic, a fundamental issue.
Well, you see, we've gone through this in a very, very long time. I mean, Ashwaji Tinubu was a governor in Lagos, two-term governor. These issues have come up. What haven't they said about Tinubu? And what hasn't he proved to the people that they are not telling the truth? And look, that's the beauty of democracy. If anybody feels strongly that our candidate has no qualification to be president, he's entitled to go and challenge that in court. But you see, when we start talking about Twitter, people, following a candidate and so on, we don't do this thing on the pages of Twitter or Twitter handle. We do these things by the people and with the people. And you see, it's very good when Mr. Pedro was talking about his candidate, talking about Atiku Abubakar. I want to remind him that Atiku Abubakar ran to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was looking for sanctuary at one time. It was Bola Ahmed Tinubu that gave him, platform to run for an election. And when Abdulmumin, my younger brother, spoke about Kwankwaso, and I'm sure all he said about Kwankwaso, he meant Ashwaju, because he left Ashwaju's movement, not because of Ashwaju, not because Ashwaju is not competent, but because of his local issues at Kano, where they have their local issues. So when we come about talking about the candidates, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is because of what he did, the sacrifice he did for this country, that my brother Pedro, my brother Jibril are talking about democracy today. Bola Ahmed Tinubu sacrificed his life to ensure that democracy thrives in this country, to ensure that there is multi-party democracy in this country. And that's why I'm talking about Muslim, Christian. And remember, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's wife is a pastor in a church today. And you see, people try to bring religion just because they see that we have a candidate that nobody can beat. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I am telling you, we are waiting for the day of election to come. Nobody. And remember, we still have President Muhammadu Buhari as the most popular northern, politician. And he's there. And I assure you, President Muhammadu Buhari will work for the success of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then Bola Ahmed Tinubu has success and acceptance across the country as well. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, remember what he has done in this country, how he has promoted people. Like the governor of my state, Jigawa State, was a candidate of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu promoted him. So that's the deep northern part of this country, northwestern part of this country. So if you look at from each Edo state where Pedro comes from, remember the former governor, J. Adams Oshomole, was also a part of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Where in this country will you go and not find his footsteps? So when people start talking about his education qualification, he cannot do it and do that. Look, we challenge anybody not come to talk on the pages of newspapers or on television shows. Go to court. Prove the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not have the qualification he has. But remember, I said remember, let them not waste their time, because you could see that these things have come to pass. He has been a governor twice. He has been a senator in this country. And when these matters come up, They just die like that. And I assure the people of this country that with Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president, you will see the success in Lagos. And all of us, all Nigerians are proud of Lagos State. All Nigerians are proud of the human capital that Bola Ahmed Tinubu invested in the people, from the vice president of this country to Fowler of the people, to ministers, governors, senators, members, House of Reps, state assembly, everywhere, businesses that Bola Ahmed Tinubu promoted in this country. What are you looking for? Person that
Honorable Aliyu, just for a moment.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you in a moment, but we need to take a break. And when we come back, we'll also hear again from Honorable Jibring, and we get to toss the conversation around the table. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. Let me get back to our Kano studio where Honorable Jibring is. The question about capacity and the question about political strength has been thrown at you tonight of the profile that the candidate of the NNPP brings to the table. And that question really will be tested in the field, whether or not he has the political wherewithal to rank shoulder to shoulder, head to head. And the question of, with the likes of Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu, and the question of the political structure. Does the NNPP has that kind of political structure as the PDP or the APC is a Labour Party that is boasting of a structure in the Labour force?
Yes, in terms of our candidate, I think people are being so unfair. For someone who has been an alumni of the House of Representatives with 600 members cut across the country, he was alumni of the Governors Forum, 1999, alumni of Governors Forum, 2011 to 2015, alumni of set of ministers, 2003 to 2007, alumni of a class of ambassadors, etc., and the rest. He contested as a president in PDP, in APC 2015, in PDP 2019, and you are talking about the brand. I think you are being unrealistic to say that he does not have the necessary reach. He does have the necessary reach, but as a person, he's a master strategist. He's a subtle person, and he's an undertaker, and you'll be shocked what he is going to bring around. My colleague in Lagos, Dan, was talking about, of course, the former vice president, whom I hold highly, by the way. But he is saying that he's a brand, and he's in every village. We're not talking about somebody being in every village. We are referring to what are you able to use those people to do? Have you been able to convert those people to political value? Are these people who are willing to elect you? So the answer is no. But let me also tell you something, Shehu, very, very quickly. The reality of the matter is that Nigerians are tired of APC, Nigerians are tired of PDP. For PDP, they're still having the hangover of losing election, and probably they will need to spend 32 years in opposition for their brain to be able to be reset. For APC, I used to wonder how APC wants to campaign. The major problem of APC is that APC has offended so much of its members. The people who will work for APC, who will campaign for APC, who will go and vote for APC, they are bitter. And if you look at the state of APC today, we just don't want to face reality. The infighting, the bad blood, the backbiting, the backstabbing in APC has already indicated to you the direction that APC is taking. The only even little saving grace is the emergence of Aswaju, but he is also coming a bit too late because the damage has been done. Quickly, let me address the issue that you raised about the Muslim Christian. Of course, I've always shared my opinion about that. But again, January 2022 is not June. 6 months in a political life, so much can happen. The temperature of the country in January is not the same with the temperature in June. Now, the issue of politics in this country, we always emphasize equity, fairness, and justice. And that is why we're talking about moving the presidency to either the north or the southern part of the country. The northern governors in APC came out publicly and forcefully made a point for themselves and ensured that the presidency moved to the southern part of the country. But there are other issues that are also determined by such fairness. And religion is also part of the balancing. And of course, in line with global best practice of lately, the issue of gender, women, is also very important. So you cannot on one hand talk about north-south in terms of political balancing, and when it comes to religion, you say, oh, no. On religion, we talk about merit. So I see the APC being faced with a very dicey situation of doing what is right or winning an election. So they have to choose, and we should not pretend about that. The issue of balancing, it's equally important for you to balance between the Muslims and the Christians. The northern Christians are very, very strong. We sympathize with them, and that is why our own candidate is going to have a Muslim and a Christian on the ticket, and many other presidential candidates. This is not being political or trying to create a scenario for APC, but the fact of the matter is that you cannot talk about balancing when it comes to north-south in terms of the presidency. Then again, when it comes to Christian, Muslim, and you said that is not applicable. Finally, let me talk about the issue of the Southeast. I have a very, very important message for the Southeasterners. You will see clearly, very clearly, all of you should open your eyes and watch it clearly and see. Because Peter Obi is one of the persons that we want to work with. But again, we have many other options that we are talking with. The Southeast, they've been backstabbed by APC. Seriously backstabbed. And they've been front-stabbed by the PDP. They've worked so much for the PDP. So the PDP has thrown away the Southeast. They've said to them, we don't need you people. The APC have thrown away the Southeast. They've said, we don't need you people. The last time the Southeast has been on the table to discuss the presidency of this country is since Ekweme. The first opportunity now they are having is with Kwankwaso. They have to think very clearly not to waste their vote. They should come, take up the running mate, and this is the best opportunity for them to become...
Honorable Jibrin, let me allow others on the...
Let me conclude that. APC in the next 8 years will not take it to the Southeast. They are bringing the presidency to the North. PDP in the next 8 years will most likely take it to the South-South. So the Southeast should think very carefully, rally around Kwankwaso. The good thing is that we all have red caps, we and them. The Northern and the Southeastern alignment must come back on the table.
Honorable Jibrin, we need to allow others in the conversation to get their thoughts in. Let me go to our Lagos studio with Dr. Pedro Obasa. I'm now going to ask you a question. I'll just allow you to respond because I know you've heard a lot and you like to respond too.
You know, I'm from the Midwest part of Nigeria and we are used to being marginalized. I understand that they won't even let us talk, but I will just want to hit him straight. Honorable Jibril, the peace of the Lord be with you, but you are changing facts. Outside of Buhari in 2011 election, in 2007 election, no other person who did not win the presidency of Nigeria got up to nearly 12 million votes. Mr. Kwankwaso has never had anything above 2 million votes. So this is, I'm talking arithmetic. I'm not talking about who wear red cap, who not wear red cap. Electoral value, it is clear. Now let me go back to my friend, my dear good friend from Jigawa and from Benukudu. Now this is another very clear case of the APC trying to upturn the apple cart. We are Muslims and Christians in this country. And you are talking about equity, fair play, justice. From all you guys are just talking about, I don't want to be on air. It just shows a almost endemic lack of preparedness. And the fact that people are beginning to see that Nigeria is not a nation that we should allow to dwindle down. I remember the old anthem, Nigeria we hail thee. He said, though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. And when I look at all of them, the plethora of candidates, the only one that meets that very cardinal, in brotherhood we stand in our diversity, is the Waziri Adamawa Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And let's look at it. If I want anybody, a Benin man will not be president at the same time a Yoruba man will be president. So when I look at it, who best represents this nation, a nation that needs a leader, not share leaders, a nation that needs someone with a plan. And I look at the Atiku manifesto, I'm cool with it. Not stopping there, a nation that needs someone who his father, his mother, his family, his children, all touch every aspect of this country. When he married Titilai or Albert in 1975.
Dr. Obasa,
no, let me just say this.
Now,
no, let me say this quickly. Let me just say this. I know the time is running out. We must agree.
Thoughts, but let me allow Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu to also throw his thought in, and perhaps that could also be his final thought. Honorable Farouk, your reaction.
Yes, first of all, honestly, I call on Nigerians to be wary of politicians, all of us. Politicians that in the morning they are APC and the evening they are PDP, or vice versa. My younger brother, Abdulmumini, was a stout member of APC. What didn't he do for APC and so on? So anyway, that aside. But then look, when we start talking about Tinubu, you see, that's why I said, when all the things they are talking about their candidates fits Tinubu, because this is the guy who believes in Nigeria. This is the person that brought Nigeria together. So when you start talking about Muslim, Christian, and so on, Tinubu is a combination of Muslim and Christian. And you cannot deny the fact that, as I said, his wife is a pastor. And so if APC decides to put a Muslim, what's their problem? Let it be a campaign issue, and the people of this country will decide. So let us go and speak on issues.
All right.
Even Nigerians believe in us.
We're obviously out of time, gentlemen, but I guess the conversation just got started, and we're hoping that Nigerians will join in the conversation, because you've had your time, Honorable Jibring, and you actually stole out of the other people's time, but we're totally out of time. But the intention is to get Nigerians talking and question those who want to run the affairs of this nation as we got in this conversation started. Get it online and get talking in your living room and in your offices. Nigeria must get the best out of the lot. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.